Hey, what's up? My name is Rohit with Freedom Flow Empire, and today I have one of my favorite topics on sales ever, and it's what I call pulling the thread. Imagine you have one of those old yarn sweaters that, and it has a loose thread, right? You pull the thread and it slowly becomes unraveled until it's just a pile of yarn. And that is what I call, the buyer's defense, right? Against enrolling or starting with you. And really what that means is when you master this way of selling, you are going to have almost no objections. And this is something that I have spent the last 2 years crafting and perfecting as a salesman for marketing services. So before I jump into it, let me tell you, if you're new to Freedom Flow Empire, what exactly we're about. And that is improving your active income by helping you improve your sales and leveraging your high value skill, and and growing that income and then increasing it even more through systematic businesses and passive investment flows. So today we're going to talk about that first part, which is growing your business, growing your client business, whether you're a CPA, a financial a manager, advisor, a beauty specialist, etc. And so you can grow that income to build your businesses in real estate and income investment sources later. So if you like this content, like the video below for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can continually grow with us. So this is going to take a little bit to get through. So if you can't sit through it, go watch some celebrity gossip. It's not for you. But if you're excited to have objectionless sales, not completely, but mostly objectionless sales, let's jump right into it. So very first thing is you need to move away from your script, right? I've said this many, many times, right? When we get started in sales, including myself, you get started with a script, but you always want to go into it with the mindset that you're going to learn exactly what the script is doing, not rely on it. And why do I say it? Why do I say that scripts don't work? That's a very bold claim because you're probably closing people with scripts, but I'm going to challenge you and say that you're not closing as many as you could, right? Life is not scripted. I said this before, but movies are scripted and they take 100 tries to get right because it's all about context. So when you're with someone new, they're a completely different person than the one you talked to previously, and they're different from the person you're going to talk to next. And because of that, this person, fundamentally views the world differently and has to be communicated. They communicate differently and have to be communicated to differently than everyone else. And that's why you need to adjust your sales process. Now, again, if you're in the beginning, it's good to use it, but again, focus on understanding why you ask certain questions. What does that do to the prospect? And if it generates a few different responses, how do you respond to it? Why are you doing it, right? What is the general structure and flow of the sales call? That's much more important. It's much more important to stick to a structure and then have a loose structure, but then you kind of free ball it after that, than a very, very strict script you stick to, right? So once you have these principles and once you learn these sales principles, you follow that structure and then rely on the mindsets and different overall strategies rather than just exact lines going forward. So with that being said, how do you actually do this? All right, what does it mean to pull the thread? So with that being said, what does it actually mean to pull the thread, and how do you use it to actually have objectionless sales, right? Well, it means you need to find the pain point, dig into it, right? Their specific pain point, not a general pain point, right? I can do the audience analysis and be like, okay, most of the people that we enroll are like this and they have these general pain points, but it's always going to be different when you get down to it. You want to get hyper specific. Specificity sells. So you want to find their pain point, you want to dig into it, and then you want to provide your solution. It's kind of like a treasure chest, right? If you have a treasure buried on an island, you need to find out where it's buried, then you need to dig it up, and then you need to open it. So the first part is finding that pain point, right? I always start very, very general and be like someone gets on the call and be like, Scott, where are you at in life right now? Be like, and it has nothing to do with the marketing service I'm selling. You didn't even ask him on his business. I'm married, I have 2 kids, and one of them's really struggling in school, but I can't afford the tutoring services. Okay, could you tell me a bit about that? Well, my wife provides all the income because our business isn't working right now, and she, provides our food, our rent, and everything else, but we can't afford to do the tutoring services because I'm not really holding up my weight. You're not holding up your weight. What does that mean to you? Right? You see, I'm playing off of what he says, right? I'm not holding up my weight. There's no script that can accommodate for Scott telling me that, right? Or I might say, hey, Scott, the first question I ask is, all right, Scott, before we begin, just really quickly, if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing in your life, what would you change? I change the way, it gives you the entry point, because where they focus, right? Questions direct focus, right? And as soon as you see where they're focusing, you start following the rabbit hole. It's like kind of like locating. You keep asking enough questions, you find out their pain point, right? In that example that I made up, the pain point is not being able to hold his weight in the marriage and provide, the things they need, like helping their kid get through school and succeed, because he can't afford it, and instead his spouse or wife in this case is holding up the everything, right? So then you dig into it, all right? So I kind of did that example, but what does that mean to you not holding up your bargain? Well, you see, when we got married, it was a mutual, we were going to build an amazing life together, and that we were both going to provide, and we were going to have kids, and we did this again when we had kids. It's like we're going to provide them the best possible life and help them have the things that we never had and give them an advantage that we never had. And I feel like I'm not holding up. All right, so how long has this been going on? What was it like a year ago? What was it like 2 years ago? Explain to me. You're digging into it, because now he sees that this is a problem that's been ongoing, right? What happens if you don't get fixed, right? What happens if this doesn't get fixed in the next year, right? Or to flip it, if we were to meet a year from now, and you were to turn to me, Scott, and say, Rohit, this last year was the best year of my life. What would have to happen between now and then? Blah, blah, blah. Why? Why is that important? What do you mean by that? Get into exactly their specifics. Understand with 100% certainty, because again, you're directing, when you're asking these questions, not only are you getting clarity on their situation and seeing if you can help them, but you're also directing your prospect's focus into their own pain, right? If I ask you, does your head itch right now? You thought of your head and you ask yourself, does it itch? And you see, kind of think about it. The same thing you want to do with these questions. You want to dive towards their specific pain point, right? There's a difference between, like, a general pain point is, they want to be able to provide for your family, right? But you can go deeper. In this case, made up case, although it's based on real conversations I've had, is the hyper-specific pain point is, one, they can't give his kids the tutoring he needs, but what that means is he's not holding up the bargain. He's not making due on his promise and the commitment he made to his wife when they got married and when they had kids. That is a much more powerful pain point to this specific prospect, but I can't copy and paste that to different prospects, and which is why you need to go off script when selling and find and dig into the pain point. And lastly, when you have the solution, you provide that solution, you provide it, you make it relevant to him. And this isn't any kind of manipulation. This is what's best for the prospect, and you always put it into terms like, all right, Scott, you told me that you need to make, your business needs to bring in an additional $5,000 per month in profit for you to provide for your family, to get your kid the tutoring you need, and for you to match your wife's contribution to the family, and so that you can make good on the promises you made, right? So, we're gonna help you with the advertising, your lead gen, because you seem to close the leads you get, you just don't get enough. And once if you're able to increase your leads by this many a month, you will have the income that you need to do that, right? I'm putting his own pain and goals back into how I close. I'm not providing a general solution. I'm putting it back so that he knows that the solution is not something general. It's for him, and it knows that it's going to help him accomplish his specific goals, not it might accomplish his goals, right? We're not just going to get him leads, and maybe he might do it. No, this is making it very clear that I know what he wants, and I'm going to help him achieve it, and he sees exactly how I'm going to help him achieve it. So that is the second part. And the third part is you need to approach everyone's pain point uniquely and empathetically. And that means not judging, right? When you kind of develop this ability to get people to open up, it is hard, you have to leave your own beliefs at the table and help them understand that you see them as a compatriot, as a brother, as a sister, and that you are there to help them, right? You're there to understand their situation and to help them because they deserve to be helped, right? Most people you get on the phone with, I hate to say it, have very low self-esteem. That's the society we live in. And when you are there for them and that you understand, you can provide the empathy and you tell them, look, I'm here for you. I understand, I can relate to that. Especially if you have stories and experiences in your own life that relate to it, and you can help them open up and share that experience, it creates a bond, and they know that you're more committed to helping them than your competitors who may just be following a general script or hard closing them like it's the 80s and aren't, going above and beyond like you are. And when you start applying these principles, that is when you're going to start to see objectionless selling, because when they get to the end, they know that you are the best person to help them because you're the only salesperson that took the time to understand their situation, and that you have a solution that is hyper specific to their problems. And they're not going to have objections because they trust you. That this process builds trust. It provides the certainty, and there's a lot of clarity on exactly what you're going to do. So if you want more sales advice just like this, subscribe to the video, check out our free Facebook group, and I will see you next week. And I want you to tell me in that Facebook group how many objections you're getting, because I hate objections, which is why I developed a process that gets rid of them entirely from the beginning. So I'll see you next week and have a wonderful day.